In 2019, YouTube was caught violating the Child Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA. Since settling, YouTube has enacted new policies that are meant to serve as a smokescreen so they can dodge responsibility and scapegoat creators. As such, for my own protection, it is my obligation to advise you that this video is not aimed at children. My target audience is not children. Parental discretion is advised. Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is the Sentinel watching over Geekdom, and welcome back to Sentinel Reviews. Our look at Dark Shadows, the horror collection, continues with Carriage of the Damned, released in April of 2014, written by Alan Flanagan, directed by David Darlington and Darren Gross. Carriage of the Damned stars Lisa Richards, Kathleen Cody, James Storm, and Denise Nickerson. As always, I will be talking about spoilers, so if you do not want to be spoiled, in the description box below is the link to Big Finish's website, where you can buy Carriage of the Damned, or you can get it as part of the Horror Collection digital bundle. And right off the bat, this is a really fun story. It's good too, but I think, I enjoy fun more than being good. Airplane passing by. But no, this story focuses on Sabrina Jennings, Amy's sister-in-law, played by Lisa Richards. Now, as I said in my review of the Lucifer Gambit, I would talk more about Sabrina, and this is the point. So as I mentioned, Sabrina married Amy's older brother, Chris. As a descendant of Quentin Collins, Chris is a werewolf. And through mysterious circumstances, Chris died on his wedding night. Now, and we learn what those circumstances are. Sabrina learned Chris was a werewolf, and she made a deal with a Romany. I'm not saying the actual word, it's a slur. Anyway, and because this is a horror series, that deal was Faustian in nature. So the curse was lifted from Chris and placed on Sabrina. And Sabrina is the one who killed Chris on their wedding night, and it's something she's kept secret this entire time. Now, Sabrina, in the meantime, this story takes place after the Happier Dead. It opens with Amy still in mourning after the events of that story. Sabrina thinks she may have found a way to lift this curse and seeks Amy's help in locating the body of an immortal serial killer named Gerard Stiles. Now, the Gerard Stiles stuff, when we get to it as we dive into this story, I'm going to kind of skip over because it's parts of the show I haven't seen yet. I think he was the main antagonist of I think it was called the Destroyed Collinwood arc or something, or the Future Collinwood arc or something like that. Like I said, I'll get there. Anyway, so as Sabrina and Amy are digging up Stiles' body, they find the body, but they don't find his head. And with a locator spell Amy casts, Sabrina finally locates the head on a train leaving Collinwood, which leads to the entire setting of this story. As the name implies, this is a train thriller, like Murder on the Orient Express or something like that. And Amy is trying to find out where Amy's in this. She's a relatively minor character, though. Like I said, this story focuses on Sabrina. Sabrina boards the train and finds out what is going on, who has Stiles' head, and she's trying to get to the bottom of this mystery because she's worried that someone may use Stiles for more nefarious purposes. And because Stiles, the reason he's immortal is he was a follower of a warlock named Judah Zachary. And that's all I'm going to get to. I'm going to explain the Stiles stuff soon, don't worry. And on this train, we meet our cast. We meet our main players. There's Matthew, who is an attendant working on the train. We met him in the Lucifer Gambit. Sorry, my throat's really dry right now. There's Pauline, a nurse at Collinsport Hospital, who we also met in the previous story, The Happier Dead. There's the Major, who is this stiff, your typical stiff military type. Your mustachioed typical stiff military type. There's Elspeth, an actress, and Hallie Stokes, the niece of Amy's teacher, Professor T. Elliot Stokes. Now, and right at the beginning of this story, when Sabrina and Hallie meet, Hallie is the only other person who knows Stiles' head is on this train because she is also looking for it. Which brings me to the Stiles storyline and what's going on. Because Sabrina is looking for Stiles' head because she believes Stiles can cure the werewolf curse that is within her. Hallie is looking for Stiles' head to kill him. In the same storyline I mentioned, the 1995 destroyed Collinwood story arc. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know the name. Stiles possessed someone and killed Hallie. And when Barnabas and Julia figured out what happened and were able to go back to their original time or revert that timeline from happening, again, parts of the show I haven't watched, ghosting over it really quick, everything reverted back to normal, but Hallie still remembered dying. And so she's looking for revenge, basically, right now. She's looking to kill Stiles. And Hallie's a very fascinating character because it's implied that her and her uncle had a sort of falling out prior to this story, and she's also where do I want to go with her? She's also sorry. She's also doesn't have the same morality that her uncle has. Like, from what little I know of him right now, Professor Stokes seems like a good man. He seems like a morally upright man, and whereas Hallie here is not, she doesn't hold herself to that same morality. It seems more willing to get her hands dirty, which may have led to this implied falling out her and her uncle had. Also, there is another story, not in this set, I forget what it was called, and I forget where it was, that seems to imply that. And in that story, the description, anyway, the summary implies that Hallie is the main antagonist of that story. I wish I knew more about it, but I haven't heard it yet. And most of the characters are good. Matthew is great. Pauline is really good. The Major is good for as small a role as he has. Elspeth is the only annoying one. Because she is, as I mentioned, she's an actor, and she's playing to the whole eccentric actor stereotype, very melodramatic, very larger than life. She lives in the role she plays. She kind of has to make it about her. And the thing is, the eccentric actor stereotype is very hit and miss. Sometimes it works to great effect. Clayface and Harley Quinn. Sometimes it doesn't work, and Elspeth here is an instance of it not working and it coming off as being annoying. I think I'd be a little better with it if Elspeth wasn't narratively and functionally useless to the plot going on here, because she contributes nothing to the story. She doesn't have anything to add. Even Matthew, Pauline, and the Major, even the other characters have some part, big or small, to play, but Elspeth contributes nothing. And as I mentioned, because this is a train thriller and takes place on a train, the story never casts suspicion on her in any way. So, yeah, like I said, she just comes off as being a really grating character. Lisa Richards gives a great performance for the most part. Almost. She's really good throughout most of the story. But then, so what happens is the train car they're in gets separated from the main train because of a mishap with the locator spell Amy and Sabrina cast to locate Stiles' head. And it's stranded derelict on the tracks. And as they find out, a full moon is approaching, which means Sabrina is about to change. And Sabrina's transformation, I should say, is very unique because she doesn't physically change. She doesn't turn into a werewolf or anything. But she spiritually changes. She still inherits the spiritual traits of a werewolf. Increased aggression, enhanced strength, bloodlust, all that. She just doesn't physically turn into a wolf. And that is the one part where Lisa Richards' performance kind of fails because just the way she plays the wolf, it feels really forced. It feels very, because she's slowing down her speech a lot, and she's taking pauses between every word. It doesn't feel natural is all. And not in the way that, a werewolf would be unnatural. It feels really forced. Now, as for what's going on with Stiles, I'm not going to spoil that because it's done as a really great reveal, and there's really great performances tied around that moment of the twist reveal. But suffice to say, they figure it out. Sabrina and Stiles are able to figure out that how to cure I keep mixing them. How to cure Sabrina's curse. Hallie is able to forgive Stokes, which is another great moment because we find out that it may not Stiles, because we find out it may not have actually been Stiles. He may have been possessed by this warlock, Judah Zachary. And because that ties into something else as part of this story, the entire time, Stiles' head has been muttering, "Forgive me, I wasn't myself." And as Stiles has been trying to possess people, they have been repeating that phrase. And at the very end of the story, Amy finds out Sabrina is the one who killed Chris. And obviously at this point, Amy becomes inconsolable and she promises to leave Collinsport, and never come back. Which of course ties into the events of Bloodlust. Like I said, Carriage of the Damned is fun. It's got really great performances. It's got fun characters. It takes a predictable premise, a train murder mystery, a train thriller, and just has fun with it, and it's so enjoyable. But that's it for Carriage of the Damned. Carriage of the Damned. Sorry, I cannot speak today. So join me next week when we will be shifting gears again. This time we'll be looking at Barnabas Collins and the Curse of Shiratha. But those are my thoughts on Carriage of the Damned. What were yours? Start a conversation in the comments below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Click the bell next to subscribe to get notifications when I upload. In the description box below, you'll find the link to my Ko-fi where you can support the channel, and you'll find the link to my Twitter where you can follow me and get updates on the channel. This is the Sentinel watching over Geekdom, and I'll see you guys next time.